only one teacher can teach.
Tonight we'll focus our insight lenses on the assemblyman in Commander Edina Eguafo Ebirem, who has been arrested for open defecation at the Elmina Beach. Is this a genuine move to curtail open defecation? We'll find out.
And in business, Ghana's position as a yam exporter is on the line due to delays at the Tema port. You want to stay with us as we tell you more on this and how it is affecting exporters.
Also to come, actor Kweku Menu of Kumawood makes some proposals to turn around the fortunes of the industry. That's coming up latter part of the program in E-Zone.
You're welcome once again to the news here on GHOne Television. Now to our very first story at this time of the hour. Government says it will soon roll out a comprehensive plan to address the country's housing deficit. Now, housing remains a major challenge in Ghana, with the housing deficit estimated at about 1.7 million units. Works and Housing Minister Samuel Atachi, in an interview with GHOne News, noted Ghanaians will soon have some relief.
The major policy change is that we want to affect the pension fund through legislation and ring-fence money specifically for housing financing, which competitive banks will come and use as leverage, and then they pay off the developers when they have finished their work, and then they deal with the off-takers, the people that will do the mortgaging arrangement. That is one significant way which will bring a paradigm shift in the whole of housing supply in the country, and trust that this year this is our major focus.
So you are promising that there's a program that is going to be rolled out by government for this housing deficit to be dealt with?
A very serious and credible program. Now, the world over, there's no way the citizenry of any country will have good houses to live in if there's no credible mortgage arrangement that gives them the opportunity that with time, if you pay your mortgage installments, you'll come and own a house, probably 15 years. Everywhere in the world, there's no way that you have security of housing unless there's a credible mortgage arrangement. The kind of mortgage arrangement we have in the RENAM is like a commercial kind of security. Why would we say that somebody should pay over and above his income in servicing a mortgage spread? This is the problem we have.
Now, misplaced priorities continue to hinder the country's infrastructural and basic development. Now, that's according to some residents of Nima. There were, however, mixed reactions about the current administration's performance after a year. A report by William Evans Inkum.
On the president's meeting with the media on Wednesday, some residents of Nima were satisfied with most of the questions asked during that encounter.
Get more detainees.
But the issue of security was one of their utmost concern.
We were seeing bombs and those kind of weapons in the country. So many robbing are going on. So every day we can experience about 10 robbings.
Every day, 10 robbers?
Yes, you will see here Tema. Now, even currently, they have killed some soldier guy in Tema. Right now, I'm talking. You see, there is no tight security in the country.
Special prosecutor with...
The office of the special prosecutor was perhaps the most contentious topics as they monitored the events from their homes.
There are a lot of things happening, but you can't talk, you can't do anything. That's why I say this special prosecutor will invite a lot of people, and if the time comes, you'll see.
It's the reality.
On the whole, the president's responses to most of the questions were satisfactory. Osman, a motorcycle mechanic at Nima, summarized past and current government attitude to developing the country in one word.
I'm not too happy. The reason why I said this is that because the meningitis didn't, attack maybe, I don't know how to. Look, I'm not happy how they handle such issues.
Right.
Because we always excuse me to say, we Ghanaians, we behave like grass.
What? We behave like grass?
The fact is, these people want the issue of security to be addressed and corrupt officials punished.
Now, these are the views of citizens across the country, and the extended version of that particular interview will come to you live on State of Affairs this evening at 8:30 p.m. But for now, we look at other stories we have in the bulletin. Now, first prosecution witness of the state, Abena Asafo-Adjei, in the case involving former board chairman of the National Communication Authority, GHOne, has indicated that there are a few constraints with the commercial court and that the NCA board never discussed nor approved any contract in any of its meetings.
Giving her evidence on the second day of the ongoing trial in Justice Eric Chebafor's court, the witness was handed 3 sets of documents, being the 135th to 137th minutes of the NCA board by the director meeting. The Director of Public Prosecution, Yvonne Atakra-Buabisa, requested of the witness to peruse and tell the courts which of the accused persons were present at the meeting. The court accepted all 3 documents after defense lawyers raised no objections to it. The witness proceeded to tell the court that with the 135th meeting minutes shows that the first 4 accused persons were all present at the meeting, namely GHOne, Tevi, Nana Inso, and Alhaji Mimina. For 136th meeting, first accused, second and third, namely GHOne, Tevi, Nana Inso, were present. For 137th meeting, first accused, second and third were present. After perusing the 3 documents on the request of the Director of Public Prosecution, the witness told the court that no mention of such contract came up during any of the 3 board meetings. The state has completed leading the first accused persons to give her evidence in chief. Lawyer for the first accused persons, Thaddeus Sori, is currently cross-examining the first accused persons.
We have been joined by Wilberforce in studio to give us some insights into this particular development and what he has been picking up as far as this particular conversation is concerned. Wilberforce, thank you for joining us.
Welcome.
What have you got for us?
Well, so today, the prosecution witness, which is the first of all of the various witnesses that are to be called, Madam Abena Asafo-Adjei, continued her evidence in chief. Today's session was primarily about confirming whether or not the board met to approve of the contract which has brought about this case, which is titled The Republic versus Eugene Baffour, Bonny, and 4 others. The prosecution witness indicated to the court that under no circumstance did the board ever have the opportunity to consider that contract, and that if you look at the minutes of the board, which covers the period that the accused persons were in office, there is no evidence in any of the minutes that the board met and discussed an infralock contract between Infralock and the National Communications Authority. After the state prosecutors led the lady to give her evidence in chief, obviously the next step is for the defense lawyers, 5 of them, to cross-examine the prosecution witness. So Thaddeus Sori, who is the first defense lawyer for the first accused person, took his turn to conduct the cross-examination. He sought to discredit the prosecution witness in that she was removed from office at a point in time when Eugene Baffour was board chair. And so the question line sought to say that she may be an aggrieved witness, and that is the reason why she agreed to support the case of the state to become a witness in the case at all. After that session, that is Thaddeus finishing his portion, the second defense lawyer who is for the second accused person, and in this case, the former executive director of the National Communication Authority, took his stand. And it was at his stand that the case had to be adjourned because he was demanding a document which was not present in court. And so the court adjourned to 23rd so that the prosecution witness, Madam Abna Asafoje, can go look for that particular document and present it before the court.
Well, do we have an idea what document was being asked for which reason Madam Asafoje, had to now go and then defer and come back at a later date to supply that to the court?
Well, so the defense lawyer wanted to know from Madam Asafoje if there is any document in the NCA that is a guideline for how the NCA board conducts its work. And so that document the lawyer called a charter. So the lawyer was asking that if there is a charter like that there, Madam Asafoje indicated that indeed there is something like that. And as a result, the court, the lawyers, I should say, demanded that that document be presented in court. And that is the reason why the case had to be adjourned. Now, Stevenson, there's some development that we noticed at the court, and that is that the accused persons come in to the court and go out through an unapproved routes in the court. In the High Court, there is one access way. Everybody goes through it. There's a security check. You enter. When you have to exit, there's another way that you exit through. But the accused persons, after the court sitting, all went through different ways. There are other exit ways. It includes the one for judges and also the one for people who work in the judicial service. What happened was that these accused persons used these unapproved routes to exit the court. And so cameramen and journalists who had gathered wanting to take pictures and wanted to have some interviews with these accused persons do not get to find them because they use unapproved means to get out of the court.
To get out of the court. At least that deprives us, the media, of the needed conversation that we would even want to have. We do not want to go and do anything that affects the ruling or affects the judicial process. But I think it would be very interesting sometimes to get an appreciation of what is going on in the minds of the accused persons. We hope that in the subsequent sessions that you will attend, well, they go through the approved route so you can get as much as you can so we can educate the public.
I also hope so.
Well, thank you very much, Wilberforce, for sharing these insights with us.
And away from the courts, let's go to the Kwame Nkrumah circle now. It has been a week now since the mayor of Accra, Ni Ajay Soa, together with officials of the AMA, demolished settlements behind the VIP station at Circle as part of the decongestion exercise. The situation, however, has not improved as a majority of these illegal settlers are still camping on a demolished site, flouting the directive of the AMA.
Exactly a week ago, one could only find debris of demolished structures, but that has changed. Though nearly all the debris has been cleared, the memory of that fateful day still lingers on the minds of many here. Many of these squatters are still here, insisting they have nowhere to go. Some of them have pitched camp with their mattresses recovered after the exercise on the surface they come across, while some have no option than to sleep on the bare floor. Children have been left at the mercy of mosquitoes, while the adults struggle to make ends meet. Many properties have been displaced, and life has come to a complete halt for these squatters.
Ni baby ameko juana me ya kakaka na ya me de hwe me ma no nti o mububu ha sei no me wa mo e wo ho mesika nyina na me de kodi dwa me ba ya no me de mo no koto obasa baby ne ha me kata korofo be wie ni nyina sesi akro ba me ko susu alon ka na me ye de me de nua kakaka kra me de ko echi a me de hwe me ba no sesi ya bo apata susu no mo abebu nti ha na me da me ni baby ameko
landlord obo kios no ade me 2.1 3 days papa ya bubu ha say sesi a se me ma me da bro de ba say tonton hweda ma ni me sa ho nyina ye me nya na ole fe nko me krom ti sesi a de me nya na ole fe a me de be ko me krom na no kwa da mo ba ma ma ye wo ne say o mo be so mba be so asase so ha biem e na sa wa o se o hwe e be hwe wa o se prison sesi me nya na ole fe nko me krom me nya dai
Mini baby, oh, mini baby. And come your baby crank and come a corada. Mini baby co. Come was cranka, but this and cranka. Come a cock, I may die. Dear Magic Crano, Eddie, mammy. And my bonds, I made almost an Anton cry with me. And then me die a crano, and so came to Menum crano, and so cray me young, so my bama say I dare chance, and I made me young, so no.
This will not be the first demolition exercise to be done in this part of the city, but authorities are hoping that it will be the last.
Now, this exercise to enforce cleanliness has been replicated in other districts across the country. And now, only this morning in the Komendai Dina Eguafue Brim municipality, an assemblyman was arrested. Now, his crime was defecating openly at the Elmina beach. The assemblyman, Clarence Joseph, one of several of the Sabre Arena electoral area, was among others arrested this dawn by the Assembly Task Force that is enforcing the ban on open defecation. Now, the arrest, according to the Assembly, shows their uncompromising stance in bringing an abrupt end to the menace, therefore preventing a potential disease outbreak.
Two things for the story, funny and serious at the same time.
The same assemblyman, I mean, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
This is the person who I suspect would have, led the community or that particular assembly to launch the initiative, something that government has been talking about all this while. He's the same person who somehow
he's flouting it.
And it's not just flouting it, but he had other people doing it.
We'll find out how he was, picked up and all that. But right now, we spoke with the DC for the KEEA, who backed the moves of the Assembly.
We all back the move of the Assembly. My only worry is how the Assemblyman himself gets caught up in this.
Let's take a listen to Nana Pia Korang.
In fact, the president is very, very concerned about open defecation. Open defecation has effects. That's, I understand, because of open defecation, last year about 3,650 children died of diarrhea. So all that we can do to put a stop to open defecation so that we have open defecation free. We trying to do whatever we can. And because of that, the Assembly has my full support by arresting those people who go to the beach to do their own thing. Now we started from Elimina, we've been arresting people, and I think now people are very much concerned about not going there. And especially, in fact, it is an eyesore to see people defecating at where we produce salt. And because of that, the production of salt has totally come down.
Full support Nana Pia Korang, who is the DC for the KEEA, has for this move to arrest persons with open defecation. In fact, this will not be the first time. Now, what is bizarre about the story is, look, the Assembly is not taking light to the situation. Whether you are an officer of whatever, you'll be arrested. And that's what happened with this assemblyman. Over the telephone now is Officer in charge of environment at the KEEA, Alex Damte. He's joined us over the phone. Good evening, Alex.
Good evening, madam.
Well, first let's get into the circumstances that led to this very bizarre turn of events, finding the assembly member in open defecation.
Yeah, thank you very much. Open defecation is killing Ghana, slowly, and it's like we always make noise, we talk about it, and nothing is being done. But there has been a lot of talk shows and lip services to get rid of open defecation. This is the time we as an assembly would want to walk the talk.
And you're really serious about it. What I'm asking, Alex, is you tell us what really happened with this assemblyman who was, picked up for open defecating at the beach.
Yeah, we as an assembly, we have bylaw. And the bylaw states it clear that if you defecate in the open, you are put before court, you are given a fine. Apart from the fine, you can also serve a sentence. You can be given both. So in this instance, we don't know what the court will decide.
Well, Alex, I think you're not getting my question. What I'm asking is, how did we get to this point with the assemblyman?
Okay.
Where did you find him? What was he doing? Take us through that.
Yes. What happened is when the task force went around during the patrol, we have, areas that are prone for this open defecation. Our beaches, our salt mining areas, open spaces, refuse dams, and all that. So we know the spots. So the task force got to the area, exported the assembly member and some others. Initially, the task force didn't even know he was an honorable member of the very assembly. But upon the arrest, they realized he was an assembly member. And the law is not the assembly members from other people.
Indeed. Now, what does that tell you? The fact that an honorable assembly member, as you put it, was found taking part in this very action or practice that you want to put an end to.
Yeah, it means that it has been a habit that has been with him for several years. Because we started this arrest since last month, and he himself as an assemblyman is aware the resolution was passed in the assembly, which he was part. So we don't expect him to have gone there to defecate in the open.
But Alex, does it also tell us the fact that beyond people having toilets in their homes, it also means that we can't easily find public toilets within the assembly?
That is not the issue, my sister.
So there are enough public toilets within the assembly?
There are enough public toilets in the system. When you come to Elmina,
how affordable are these public toilets?
The public toilets are for 20 pesos. That is the user fee.
I see.
20 pesos. And the areas where we did this arrest, there are a lot of public latrines. When you get close to the beach, we have water process facilities, which is always clean and accessible to the people. So there's no excuse for any other person to bypass this facility and go to the beach. The beach is not a place of convenience. The beach is there for, recreational purposes, tourism and other activities. So we have decided to ensure that there is always cleanliness at the beachfront, so that others who think they can have some fun there can go and have their fun, but not for open defecation.
So what happens now going forward, particularly with this assembly member who more or less has disgraced your assembly?
Oh no, for the disgrace, it is very personal. He did it in his personal image. He has gone there on his own, but the assembly never sent him there. Despite the fact that he's part of the enactment of the bylaw.
So what are the next steps going forward? What happens to these persons you have arrested?
All of them before court.
Very well. Thank you very much. Alex Damte is in charge of environment at the KEEA, where one of their own has been arrested. It's such a, okay, yeah, it's funny and serious at the same time, really.
You see, the funny part of this is that this particular assembly member would have been, you see, for me, that's a worry. He would have been part, he would have spoken extensively about this, and then, when night comes up, he flouts his own rules.
Wee hours
That is interesting. Anyway, we have been asking you questions regarding this development on social media, on Twitter. Assemblyman arrested in Komenda for openly defecating at Elmina Beach. How does this sit with you? Well, 34% say thumbs up to the assembly, 7% say the move looks political, and 59% says he should pay a hefty fine. Yeah, that means that at least 93% of the people who responded to this poll are giving the assembly thumbs up and are asking that, some penalty or some fine should be paid. Well, the member we spoke to of the assembly suggested that they are going to take them to courts, and whatever penalties exist there, they will pay for it. But 7% believe it's political. I'm wondering how that is possible. Are they suggesting that the assembly member who was openly defecating is not a member of the government?
Maybe.
Yeah, but that doesn't justify him getting up at the waking up at the wee hours of the morning to do whatever it is he did. Well, that brings us to the end of Insight. We'll continue with other stories. Now, pupils of Omanjo MA school pay a high cost for education as they sit on the floor and on broken chairs to study. Now, the dire situation is not only affecting the academic work of the children, but also affecting their health. There's more on this report.
Omanjo MA cluster of schools was built about 13 years ago within the GHOne West Municipal Assembly. It is the only government school at Omanjo, and children from over 10 surrounding communities come here for their basic education. Currently, the school has over 2,500 students with 60 teachers. Due to the huge population, the school runs a shift system. There are not less than 120 students in a class. Pupils from MA 1 and 2 share the same classroom with 2 teachers taking turns in teaching. Headmasters of the school share an office, which is in an awful state as well. As the pupil population increases every academic year, the school faces huge challenge with infrastructure and other amenities for a conducive learning environment.
We don't have a library, so it makes English difficult for us. Because when we have a library, we go to the library to go and read, to improve upon our language. But without the library, we cannot read. So when a teacher is in the class, when he's explaining a lesson, sometimes they use Chi, not English. So it makes learning hard for us.
The lack of furniture in classrooms has made teaching and learning very difficult. Pupils have no choice than to sit on these blocks and in worst cases on the floor. For lucky pupils who get desks to sit on, they have to sit in 3s and 4s, a huge price to pay for education. Though the school received about 200 desks last year, they were inadequate and currently in a deplorable state.
There are not a lot of chairs in the classroom and we don't feel comfortable when learning. And also, the school is not completed and we don't feel comfortable too. When a teacher is even teaching us, a lot of people will be making noise. And in one class, about 103 in the class, and only one teacher can teach. When the teacher too is teaching, he also gets tired.
It's very difficult because, we need more desks in this school. It's like we are all we are suffering in this school. We need more desks.
The situation has forced some of the students to become carpenters, fixing tables and chairs for their fellow students as teaching and learning goes on.
We are using this wooden for desks. We don't have enough desks for the school. So we are working for this.
We sometimes feel uncomfortable when learning because when doing our classworks, our teachers come to even pass through the chairs, but they don't get comfortable place when passing into our desks.
But the lack of furniture is not the only challenge the school faces. There is no decent toilet facility. Security is also a challenge since there is no fenced wall. According to some headmasters who spoke to us off camera, mischievous students always find their way out of school to nearby game centers during school periods. About 3 years ago, there was a glimmer of hope as construction of a new classroom block started. The work has unfortunately come to a standstill for almost a year now. The school recently benefited from government school feeding program, a huge relief for teachers who in most cases had to feed the poor students out of their pockets. Authorities of the school are therefore calling on government to come to their aid as the situation is gradually out of hand.
Now, some governance experts are blaming Ghana's inability to sustain her GDP growth on inefficiencies in the public sector. Executive Director of the Institute of Democratic Governance, Emmanuel Akwete, maintains there are numerous opportunities in the public sector that managers of the country's sector can take advantage of to turn around the fortunes of Ghana.
The public sector designs and implements policies and programs that aim to fulfill the government's broad economic and social policies. A Public Service Commission was created in 1948 to advise on issues relating to appointments, transfers, and disciplinary control of public officers. 60 years down the line, achievement within the public sector of Ghana is highly recognized. The inability of the country to sustain growth, especially in the country's GDP, has been partly attributed to an ineffective public sector. This has led to a dip in public confidence by citizens in the public sector. Fragmentation and the creation of multiple regulatory institutions have created mandate conflicts and overlaps. Almost all institutions constituting to the public service continue to compete for space, human resources, and in some cases engage in a tough war. Corruption has equally been a major setback, inhibiting the growth of the public sector, and the President, Nana Akufo-Addo, emphasized to fight against this growing phenomenon.
Those of us in public service should acknowledge that corruption is one of the biggest concerns to the people of Ghana. It is the one subject on which a surprising number of people are willing to tolerate a waiver of due process. This is because, unfortunately, public officials are in danger of losing the confidence of the people in the fight against corruption.
At the inaugural seminar on local governance reforms and public service institutions held by the Institute for Democratic Governance in Accra, Chairman for the Public Service Commission, Bridget Katriku, says the lukewarm attitude of most workers is crippling the sector.
The attitude of the public servants is cause for concern. But one, as I was saying in the paper, one has to look at the environment in which the public servant operates. And one will also ask the question, what type of leadership do we have? Because leadership decides everything. And if our leaders, both from the political and the bureaucratic level, if our leaders are strong, the attitude of the public servant will change. Because when the public servant is aware that infringement on rules and regulations will be punished, they will conform, they will adhere to them.
Professor of Political Science and Senior Research Fellow at IDEC, Joseph Achuaye, says there is a future for public sector if stakeholders show commitment and support to the sector.
I think that the future is bright because there are opportunities, and because there are opportunities, we should not miss those opportunities. The development partners, the citizens, civil society organizations are also interested in the performance of the public sector. So the goodwill is there. The private sector is also interested in the public sector because an efficient public sector will actually create the enabling environment for a very active private sector.
He further admonished government to harmonize inconsistencies and contradictions in the Constitution and acts relating to the sector.
We move away from that. Now, fear has gripped residents of New Joburg in the eastern region as a gang of robbers continue to terrorize inhabitants at gunpoint. Now, the gang of 5, including a female, has robbed many residents and businesses, particularly mobile money vendors, within the past few weeks.
The robbers in recent past robbed a mobile money vendor at 2 streams and took away a cash of 8,000 Ghana cedis. That same night, they also robbed a resident at Betom. A week ago, the gang attacked and robbed Dr. Owusu Efriye, a gynecologist, in the region at gunpoint at about 9:30 p.m. at his private apartment. He was slapped and beaten by the armed robbers. On Tuesday, 16 January 2018, the gang had a run-in with the police at Nsukwao in the New Joburg municipality. The residents say they feel unsafe.
Now, a couple narrowly escaped death after an unknown person attempted to burn them to death in the wee hours of Thursday. The unfortunate incident took place at Okrase near Koforidua in the eastern region and has left the couple with severe injuries.
The couple, Kweku Amponsa and Ama Santua, both octogenarians, were fast asleep when their home was set ablaze. Their mobility-challenged son, Kweju Esiedu, recounted the horrifying incident.
Yeah, when I said, "Bibi atu se tro, pain, ti atu se rien, no so jada, never about them." And I remember sorry trash, and I'm telling Papa wo, me Papa wo, a man for why ain't ya, Bob.
The yet-to-be-identified arsonist allegedly sprinkled petrol around the house and on the floor and on the door of their room before torching the house. However, officials of the National Disaster Management Organization and the fire service have visited the scene to commence investigations.
Now let's do some politics now. Confusion appears to have marred the polling executives' elections of the New Patriotic Party in nearly all the constituencies in the Eastern region. Now, some party supporters accuse some constituency executives and members of parliament of hoarding nomination forms, only to release them to their cronies.
A group of supporters of the party embarked on a protest at the New Joburg South constituency office against the executives for allegedly reserving nomination forms for their favorite aspirants. The supporters now want the elections brought to a halt. One such party faithful is GHOne Nanayao Brempong.
What is happening is that you go to people's houses, you go to police station executives. People are filling the forms in their rooms, yes, in their offices, giving it to people. Now, the filing date is over. We want to make sure the system is being followed. Whatever they are doing is all because of somebody's parochial interest. And we will make sure that will never happen. That is why we are making noise.
At the Abri constituency, similar incident took place when Member of Parliament for the area, Obi Amwa, stormed the party office with some irate followers to nullify forms issued out by the election committee to the various aspirants. This resulted in mayhem which forced some of the constituency executives to flee the party office. Same was recorded at Achemmase in the Buakwa South constituency and in Suhum, where disgruntled supporters of the MPP filed an injunction on the election.
An award ceremony has been held in Menchia Palace in honor of security service personnel, government institutions, schools and private organizations for their contributions towards the successful organization of the final funeral rites of the late Santahema Nanefia Sewa Kobi Ampem.
Each of the awardees, including Ghana's largest media brand, EIB Network, Unibank, Security Services, other government institutions and banks, received citations. Prempeh College, Opokuwari, Kumasi Technical Institute, Asanteman SHS, among other senior high schools, Cadet Corps, also took citation from the Otumfo for their excellent contribution. Kwame Adinkra, host of Ebusia FM's morning show Ebusia Nkomo, also was given a special award for his contribution to the successful planning and organization of the funeral. Addressing the awardees, Otumfo commended the media for their uninterrupted coverage both on radio and television. Bompata Manhene Ambassador Nana Ifa Penting spoke on behalf of the Otumfo Oseitutu II at the event.
Your excellent performances, individually and collectively, have not only contributed to an outstanding display of Ashanti tradition and culture at its best, but also rekindled our pride in our heritage as a people and our nation. By extension, you have also helped to burnish Ghana's image on the international plane.
Well, congratulations to the EIB network and all the other winners, who it sounded like were from the Huda group. But that's okay.
You just had to chip that in.
Yeah, I did. We'll be right back with more news. Stay with us.
Jamie, therefore, ma yawo brings you. Na fe yemu so mo kwan.
Say the therefore say no.
What are ma? Manento nana say. Insure sem the mo ha na okra ye ba no. Ye di nsuo ba.
Ah! Adai. Se waba efie. Ah, wa say yen yema mu nsuo num no. Wo so di nsuo ba. Any say.
Nana eti amra.
Therefore, yesre wo. Nsuo we. Eye ahemfo nsuo a ye de afa mfidie mu. Asone so. Aye ne kroji. A Free Kingdom Beverages Limited. King's Drinking Water.
Bye ma. Nsuo na de.
Adampa.
King's Drinking Water. Ba. Anya na King's Drinking Water.
Ahifusio de.
Henry, what is wrong with you and your laptop? It is not working.
Hey. What at all is going on in this house?
Your son's laptop is not working and my phone.
Me kai me mo frabrim. Na me mama de me ko Freddy's corner. Enti ene eye manager. Se me di Freddy's corner ho dance e. A chere mabusia. Na de ba ko a me kai wo Freddy's corner. Eye se de wo siti wonim. Ejeji wo customers. Se eba mobile phone, eba laptop papa, camera papa, the PlayStation, Freddy's corner, aha, in the wall. So come back to mobile phone, I say, or camera, say, or laptop, I say, and our PlayStation. Me how cry. Freddy's corner, be trying you go amount. Freddy's corner, your home of authentic mobile phones and accessories.
The Ghana Trade Fair Company, under the auspices of the Ministry of Trade and Industry and the One District One Factory Secretariat, welcomes you to the 22nd Ghana International Trade Fair under the theme Industrializing Ghana and Creating Jobs. It will be 1 week of exhibition and enterprise from February 28 to March 7, 2018, offering manufacturers, suppliers, consumers, and various service providers the opportunity to network and make sales. The Presidency urges you to support, partner, and explore the opportunities available. For inquiries, call 0241-818-658, 0244-173-127, 055-247-4632, or visit tradefairgh.com. The 22nd Ghana International Trade Fair, industrializing Ghana and creating jobs.
Jamie, therefore, ma yawo brings you. Na fe yemu so mo kwan.
Say the therefore say no.
What are ma? Manento nana say. Insure sem the mo ha na okra ye ba no. Ye di nsuo ba.
Adai. Se waba efie. Ah, wa say yen yema mu nsuo num no. Wo so di nsuo ba. Any say.
Nana eti amra.
Therefore, yesre wo. Nsuo we. Eye ahemfo nsuo a ye de afa mfidie mu. Asone so. Aye ne kroji. A Free Kingdom Beverages Limited. King's Drinking Water.
Bye ma. Nsuo na de.
Adampa.
King's Drinking Water. Ba. Anya na King's Drinking Water.
Ahifusio de.
You're welcome back to News Tonight here on GHOne Television. Time now to bring you business, and Kuku Timing, as usual, is on the standby.
Well, Patrick, thank you very much. Tonight, I tell you about how yam exports is affected, and probably because we're getting some additions onto an oil block, we get more revenue. We have this and other interesting details coming up in business shortly, thanks to Dusk Capital.
Business Brief is brought to you by Dusk Capital. We see a millionaire in you.
We're looking for you, the next millionaire. We know of your stressful routine. From those 12-hour flights across the Atlantic to your hustle through traffic every day. From burning the midnight oil to that laptop that never sleeps. We know where you are in life, and we know where you want to go. Let us take you there. Thinking investment? Think Dusk Capital. Dusk Capital. We see a millionaire in you.
Henry, what is wrong with you and your laptop? It is not working.
Hey. What at all is going on in this house?
Your son's laptop is not working and my phone.
Me kai me mo frabrim na me ma me de me ko Freddy's corner enti ene eye manager se me di Freddy's corner ho adanse a kire mabusia na ade ba ko a me kai wo Freddy's corner eye se de wo siti wonim ejeji wo customers. Se eba mobile phone, eba laptop papa, camera papa ni PlayStation eye Freddy's corner aha in the wall. Se ko ba to mobile phone say, o camera say, o laptop say and a PlayStation. Me ha ho kra. Freddy's corner be try you go am. Freddy's corner, your home of authentic mobile phones and accessories.
All right, let's take our business updates now in here. Ghana's reputation as the third largest yam producer in West Africa after Nigeria and Cote d'Ivoire and a leading exporter of yam is on the line as yam dealers are recording low exports of their products. Well, the yam exporters say delay at the Tema Harbour during export of yams is affecting their business. Nabil Ahmed Rufai, my colleague, has more in the story.
Scrubbing dirt off tubers of yam and gently arranging them in a stack, part of the preparation before yams are exported abroad. Here at a warehouse in Abubulushi Market, these workers package the yams in cartons for loading onto a truck ready for transport to the Tema Harbour. Akosia Tampoli employs over 50 staff and says business has been slow within the last 7 months of 2017 due to delays in export of the yams when they get to the harbour.
Packaging, harbour, no ship on my design, and I see in Nigeria. So I
Ghana is a leading exporter of yam, accounting for over 94% of total yam exports in West Africa. This feat, according to James Morrow, who cultivates yams in Bimbila and supplies to export dealers at the Abubulushi Market, will be lost if the delays during export at the Tema Harbour is not checked.
This year, the things are not going well for us because me, I'm a trader. I'm buying from them. I'm still a farmer too. When you buy and you come here, it's not buying. And those who are making export, they are complaining that when they want to make the exports, it is not running fast.
A staff, Kwame Minta, shares how the decline in yam exports has had a toll on him.
So more a quantum no so to ntemwa. My workers no so to so no to an e bia so what I say because young workers no kutankra na ma ehwe mu fi. Ti ya ban sin adwuma ya nso ye neche so what I say. And ti ya ban mu na shipping lines no man kasa. Agricultural
policies between 2005 and 2010, yam production in Ghana contributed about 16% to the country's agricultural gross domestic product, accounting for 11% of total consumption in 2007. About 90% of Ghana's yams are exported to the US, UK, and the Netherlands. In April 2014, large quantities of yam exported to the US from Ghana was rejected, as most were found to be unwholesome upon arrival in that country.
At least it's a revenue earner for the country. We get some foreign exchange from it, so we critically need to put measures in place to ensure that we are exporting more to other parts of the world. We'll take other stories now. Here, Ghana is anticipating increased oil exploration activities because of the entry of GHOne. Well, the Minister of Energy, Boakye Agyarko, tells GHOne Business that the move will also increase government's revenue from the sector, propelling economic growth and transformation.
ExxonMobil's investment in the oil sector becomes the first major one in Ghana following the landmark ruling by ITLOS on the maritime border dispute between Ghana and Ivory Coast in September last year. Sector Minister Boakye Agyarko, beyond the monetary gains, looks forward to the skills ExxonMobil will transfer to local hands.
I have always said that we have to get people who can do the work, not people who are going to take the oil block, sit on it, hoping to flip and make some money. The BPs, the Shells, the Chevron, all of them are now interested in coming to operate in Ghana. It is following the signal of ExxonMobil accepting to be here. So we are leveraging the reputation of ExxonMobil in order to attract others. And I think it's useful for this country.
On his part, the CEO of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, Dr. KK Sapon, stressed the enforcement of local content policies.
The fiscal terms are quite more favorable compared with the previous ones. And when they talk about fiscal terms, then it means the revenue flow. It will give us more money. Then secondly, in terms of employment, the local content arrangements that we have in place now, obviously, if we really implement it to the letter, will ensure more job creation.
The company is expected to start exploration after Parliament ratifies the deal. Ghanaian ownership is estimated at 30%. This comprises 10% royalty to the government of Ghana, while GNPC owns 15% stake as carried and participation interest. Also, the local partner for ExxonMobil is entitled to 5% of the company's stake.
Well, in a related development, Ivory Coast awarded Tullow Oil 2 new oil and gas blocks, with one situated along the maritime boundary with Ghana. Well, Tullow now holds stakes in 9 Ivorian blocks, 8 of which it's picked up during the boundary maritime dispute. Tullow Oil has 21.33% position in Ivory Coast Explorer Fields, which is operated by Canada's CNR. A statement from Ivory Coast Cabinet indicates that the Ivorian government had awarded Tullow Block CI-520, an offshore block near the commercial capital of Abidjan, and CI-524, which is adjacent its acreage in Ghana. Tullow operates the Jubilee oil and gas fields in Ghanaian waters and is developing the 10 fields. Having emerged from one of the longest downturns in the sector's history, Tullow is now cautiously reviving its search for new oil and gas resources in Africa and Latin America. All right, so that's all we have for you in Business Tonight. Thanks to That's Capital. We really have some more stories coming up. Do stay with us.
Business Brief was brought to you by
Dusk Capital. We see a millionaire in you.
International Brief is up next. Now, 4 people have been killed by falling trees or debris as fierce storm tears across northern Europe. Now, storm-related accidents killed 3 people in the Netherlands and 1 in northwestern Germany. All long-distance train services in Germany and many regional services were cancelled for the rest of Thursday, and flights at Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam were briefly suspended. And in Germany, where the storm is being called Friedrich, many schools have been closed, flights cancelled, and meteorologists are warning people to stay indoors.
the continent, a Kenyan doctor has filed a high court petition for female genital mutilation to be legalized. Dr. Tatu Kamau says adult women should be allowed to choose what to do with their own bodies, and his campaign is meant to safeguard the dignity and rights of women. The Daily Nation reports Dr. Tatu Kamau told journalists outside the court that legalizing the procedure where parts of the female reproductive organ are removed would make it safer. The Standard reports also that in 2011, a new law made it illegal to conduct FGM with a punishment from 3 years to lifetime imprisonment.
Time now to bring you some updates in the world of sports. It is on women's football now, as Africa Women's Cup of Nations local organizing committee chairperson Frida Akosua-Prempeh has expressed optimism and readiness about Ghana's hosting of the 2018 CAF Total Women African Cup of Nations. According to her, preparation towards hosting Africa's biggest women's tournament is over 60% complete, and Ghana will be fully ready in November for the tournament. She also said the Confederation of African Football had already had its first inspection of the stadia, and had positive feedback. The 2018 CAF Total Africa Women Cup of Nations is scheduled to take place from November to December of this year.
From sports, we'll do some entertainment news in E-Zone. And today we've been speaking to Kumasi-based actor Kweku Menu, who says he's not bothered about...
Does he have an alias, though?
I don't know.
Huh.
No, I know. Oh, no, no, that's not an alias. You know, he did this commercial where it's about water or something, and he says me Filiu or something.
Oh, yeah. Filiu. I'm sure people will know him more by that.
And let's go listen to what he said about the acting industry.
Tete pesos, only a tete pesos. Yes, Miss only a tete pesos. Only a tete pesos. More money, more money, more money, more money. Hey, Tete pesos. Hey, Tete pesos.
As one of the funniest comic actors in the movie industry, Kweku Menu undoubtedly has carved a niche for himself. The 33-year-old Kumawood actor has been talking about reviving the dwindling industry and more. Me just so what to comments ni baby because Kweku de Jimmy Nkwana nkwasesem sa nyoma bi sa yen how when you are off the set na ba as wa yen how
de bia me ka se hone baby aye adwuma se bi yensa kwaya no obi betimi akase kwasea enya oya, but the same time obi su kwasea mana oya obi tma sho hey wo dia hey mo Jimmy pao on said we speak no, but obi su be sho hey Jimmy for kwasea onye Jimmy a wo Jimmy a on said obi su be present asem no ene man ye ya. Apart from that ne de me de say okura Ghana kakrakai na ye ka Kweku Menu a se bi Kweku Menu for those but o ka Kweku Menu dia official ne ye me true me obi twa me ne nani age obi ne yire ne kunukura bi na ntokwasi obehwe wo tama osesere ye ya efina osehwe mani na maka ma wade ai dai abom.
If you watch it, call come me also it queen, you will receive it. Mr. Obeyusua. No, so Benson.
Nonsense me who be so akokase Actors Guild no. Empanimfo ne mumbehyiae. Some so am actors, some so members ne nyina ye boase industry ne bekoso no. Mo so betumi approach empanimfo no.
Medase. Ba me gusu a me to ma se me pa o ma che o se. Wodi o mo mfra ye na adwuma na ekofom. O mo ba 1 year ni. 1 year ni. But ye nsia panyi biada. Etimi na me ka wo mo se bi me abonte so asem kura me ka na nti se me fi asem.
Forget about you. Oh my goodness.
Pass and nonsense no kuma would nenso as I call from kakra. And then the cost of Mohono.
Nina, Yamla. Yapa Panado, Opecro, Majip, Sini Company in Maobi. No one share Sunipa Yamla.
That is all privatization.
Yes, Yamla. But with some moving industry, revenue, opiate me at Opemeranum. But say, a banmum painful, who say, moving industry, no see a 1 district, 1 factory, in any district, and so same factory beer. District beer, and Casabin pay for the moment about. You are my taste, you know? I love you.
Yeah.
That's a very good note on which to end.
Yeah,
right?
Hilarious guy.
Say you are my taste. Are you my taste?
Oh, what do you think?
Yeah,
I am.
Yeah, you are my taste.
I will see you same time tomorrow. My name is Kamini Abano.
And I'm Patrick Stevenson. Thank you.
We want
And
to stay
have a
on
very
for
good
State of Affairs, 8:30. Bye-bye.